You know that feeling when you're packing up your life into cardboard boxes and it feels like you're finally choosing yourself? I thought that too. I remember standing in the middle of my old room, my hand resting on the doorknob for a little too long. The air was still. My books were already in the car, my clothes gone from the closet. And the bed? Stripped bare, just like me. For a second, I almost wanted to lie down and say goodbye, like it was a person. But I didn't. I closed the door gently, like I didn't want them to hear me leave. I told myself this was healing, that once I moved out, once I had space, once I stopped hearing footsteps in the hallway that made me flinch, I'd finally feel peace. But peace didn't come. I got to the new apartment and it was quiet, really quiet. Not peaceful quiet, but the kind of quiet that made your thoughts feel loud. The fridge hummed like it was talking to itself. The ceiling creaked for no reason. And every night I kept staring at the ceiling, asking questions I thought I left behind. I thought I'd finally sleep better. I didn't. I thought I'd be proud. I wasn't. I thought I'd feel lighter. I didn't. What nobody tells you is moving out doesn't move the pain out. It just relocates it. I thought I was brave. Everyone said I was. But the first night, I cried in the shower with the water turned all the way up so the neighbors wouldn't hear. Not because I wanted to go back, but because I didn't know where I belonged anymore. It wasn't home. But this didn't feel like home either. And that's where I stayed, in between. I stopped posting. I stopped replying. I told people I was busy adjusting. But what I really meant was, I didn't want to explain why healing wasn't happening. I didn't want to tell them the silence was heavier than the noise I left behind. Because how do you explain to people that the thing that was supposed to save you didn't? That it just gave you more time to sit with the parts of yourself you were hoping distance would erase? I started avoiding mirrors. Not because I hated how I looked, but because sometimes I'd catch my own eyes and I wouldn't recognize the person behind them. There's this weird thing that happens when you're alone after a big change. Time gets strange. You wake up, you eat something random, you scroll, you try to work, but everything feels like you're floating through it. Not really in it, not really living, just existing in a room that's too quiet and too clean and too unfamiliar. I tried filling the space, candles, new sheets, a plant, that stupid rug I saw on Instagram. But you can't decorate your way out of loneliness. And the worst part? I didn't even want to go back. I just didn't want this either. Some nights, I sat at the edge of my bed holding my phone, not knowing who to text. Because the people I used to lean on, they didn't understand this kind of pain. They thought moving out was the victory. They thought I'd be glowing, posting soft sunlight and matcha lattes like this was a glow up. But it wasn't a glow up. It was a breakdown that nobody saw because I didn't post it. And when I did talk to someone, just once, I said, yeah, it's going okay, just taking time to settle in. But what I wanted to say was, I think something broke in me quietly, and I'm scared that healing doesn't live here either. They would have said, give it time, but I wasn't asking for time. I was asking for hope. And that's when I realized leaving the old place was never the hard part. It was waking up in a new one and realizing you brought the same sadness with you. It folded itself neatly into your luggage. It unpacked itself before you even did. It lives in the corners, in the silence, in the fridge light at 2 a.m. I thought I left to find peace. But maybe I left too soon, or maybe peace was never going to be a place. Maybe it was something else entirely, but I didn't know what yet. There was this one night, the sky outside was that deep, lonely kind of blue. I hadn't eaten all day, not really, just chips and old tea. My body was tired, but my mind was loud. I was sitting on the floor next to my bed, not on it, next to it, like even comfort had become too much. I don't remember what triggered it, a sound, a memory, maybe nothing. But I started crying, not the soft, cinematic kind of crying, but the messy, shaking, breath-catching kind. The kind where your body folds into itself without asking. And I remember thinking, why isn't this getting better? I did the thing, didn't I? I left. I made the hard choice. I changed my surroundings. But I still felt haunted. By what was said, by what wasn't. By the echo of being small in someone else's world for too long. I used to think healing was linear, like a staircase. One step after another until you reach some bright, peaceful landing. But that night, I realized it's more like waves. Some days you're fine, other days it drags you under and you forget how to breathe. That was one of those nights. So I sat there, back against the wall, legs pulled in, and the silence wasn't just around me. It was in me. I wanted someone to knock on the door, to come sit with me and say, I see you, not fix me, just see me. But no one came, because nobody knew. I never told anyone what moving out actually felt like. They just saw a brave face, a new zip code, a smile I put on when I posted new beginnings. But the beginning didn't feel new. It felt hollow, like when you walk into a new apartment and the lights are on, but the warmth isn't there. That was me. The lights were on, but inside it was still dim. After that night, something shifted. Not in a big way, not like the movies, no sunrise epiphany, no deep breath and sudden clarity. It was smaller than that. I woke up the next morning and made tea. Same mug, same silence, same ache. But I remember standing at the kitchen counter, watching the steam rise and thinking, okay, you're still here. So what now? That thought didn't come from hope. It came from exhaustion. I was too tired to keep pretending it was fine, too tired to keep holding my breath, waiting for this place to feel like home. So that morning, I didn't try to fix anything. I didn't journal, didn't meditate, didn't make a list of goals. I just sat there, mug in hand, and let myself be. Messy, uncertain, quiet. I looked around the apartment, not as a place I was supposed to love, but as a place that was holding me, even in my numbness. And something about that softened me. Not because it made the sadness disappear, but because it gave me permission to stop running from it. I started talking out loud sometimes, little things like, that's enough for today, or I know it still hurts, or we'll try again tomorrow. Not advice, not affirmations, just whispers, like I was finally being the friend I kept wishing would show up. And maybe that's when healing actually began. Not when I moved out, but when I stopped trying to be okay all the time. Because healing isn't loud. It doesn't crash in with clarity. It tiptoes in. Quiet, subtle, slow. And sometimes it looks like washing one dish, or opening the blinds just a little, or folding your laundry while music plays low in the background. It's not the big changes that save me. It was the small moments where I stopped fighting myself. Some days it still feels heavy. I don't want to lie to you and say it's all better now. That this place magically became home. That the loneliness packed its bags and left like I did. It didn't. It lingers. Not every day, but some. Especially when the sun sets and the room goes quiet again. But I've learned not to run from it anymore. Now I let it sit next to me. I imagine the sadness like a guest, not a monster. It knocks. I open the door and I say, you can come in, but I'm still going to make dinner. There's power in that. Not pushing it away, not pretending I'm stronger than it, but also not letting it swallow me. I think that's what moving out taught me. Not how to escape pain, but how to stay with it without losing myself. Sometimes that's all we can do. Stay, even when the silence hurts. Even when healing doesn't look the way we imagined. Even when the apartment doesn't feel like home, yet. Because maybe healing isn't about replacing the old pain with something new. Maybe it's just learning how to carry it gently. And slowly, and with each small act of care, you teach your body that it's safe again. You teach your heart that it can be soft here. You teach your soul that maybe you're not as broken as you thought. So if you're in that space right now, sitting in your own silence, wondering if it was all worth it, this is for you. Not to tell you it's over. Not to say you'll be fine, but to say you're not strange for feeling this way. You're not behind. You're not doing it wrong. You're just healing in your own quiet, invisible way. And maybe tonight, that's enough.